The reason why you go into business is to be able to make money. Otherwise, go get a job and work for someone else.
Totally.
I sold my house, lived on a friend's couch for a while, and I just thought, no, I've got to back myself.
And you hit $1 million in turnover in your first year, right?
Actually hit that in 6 months.
Holy shit.
If you had 2 legs, 2 hands, and 2 eyes, nothing else, you got a job working for me.
Welcome to Where's My Money? One man, $1 million of debt, one podcast to find a way out.
Welcome to the very first episode of Reags to Riches. It's the new corner of Where's My Money, where I meet and pick the brains of people who have cracked it and how they built success from scratch, often the hard way. Because let's be honest, if this podcast has taught me anything so far, it's if you're waiting for a magic shortcut or a lotto win to drop cash in your lap, you're going to be waiting a while. Welcome to Reags to Riches. This series is for the ones who want to understand the real stuff, the wins, the fails, the pain in the ass moments that nobody usually wants to talk about, but almost everyone has to go through if they want to get anywhere. Speaking of real, today's guest is Philippa Middleton. She's not one of those business gurus who just talks a big game. She's been in the trenches for over 25 years, starting businesses, scaling them, selling them, and coaching others to do the same. Philippa knows what it's like to be the one trying to keep your head above water, can relate, while juggling the chaos of numbers, people, and the constant question of where's my money? She's here to share how to get control back so your business stops owning you and you can actually start owning your business and your profits. If you're done with the motivational platitudes and ready for some practical, no bullshit advice that actually makes a difference, this episode's for you, I reckon. Let's dive in. Just a reminder, this podcast isn't here to replace any financial advice, as we can't take your own personal circumstances into account. We strongly recommend you seek advice or guidance from a trusted financial advisor, coach, or other financial advice. These days, Philippa's living the good life, La Dolce Vita, in Auckland's Herne Bay, but she's not native to one of New Zealand's most expensive suburbs. In fact, quite the opposite.
So originally a Wellingtonian, and if I out myself on this, not often mention this, but originally from Wainuiomata, where the girls are smarter. My dad was a boom and bust guy. We used to own a big quarry down there and a concrete plant and a gas station and a few things, and he was the most brilliant and the stupidest person you've ever met rolled into one. And he'd come from really hard beginnings, and he absolutely imploded, and we lost absolutely everything when I was at a really tender age and my family disbanded. So I ended up on my own from 15, and things hadn't gone
On your own, completely on your own?
Well, yeah, kind of. It's complicated. My parents both were going through issues over the bankruptcy and everything like that, and obviously times were tough. School was a little bit tricky for me, undiagnosed with all of the things that people seem to label themselves with today. So I couldn't follow the school system, and they did an IQ test, and I had the highest IQ in the school. Didn't really know what that meant, but couldn't really understand anything they were trying to teach me. So they just said, you're naughty. So after a while you become what you're told. Boy, did I become naughty. Became so naughty that I got kicked out of school, and not a very good school either, probably the worst school in Wellington. So not my proudest moment, but I was expelled in the end of the fourth form, which in today's money is year 10.
Whoa.
So didn't have any qualifications.
Can I ask, what was the final straw for you getting kicked out of school? Surely there was...
That's probably going to go too dark. It involved a teacher being violent to me, picking me up and chucking me out. I weighed about 45 kilos in those days, out of the classroom. And so I got a little angry and I was only tiny, and she was a big lady. So I chucked a chair at her. Physically,
Shit.
And that
Take that, Miss Trunchbull.
There'd been a few naughty things along the way.
Yeah.
I spent most of my time, to tell you the truth, Reagan, was I had a thing called daily report where I had to go, and the teachers had to sign off that I'd been in there.
Yeah.
And most of them just said, just wait outside, and I wasn't even invited into the classrooms. So after school I had to pick up 45 pieces of chewing gum every day, so I just chewed it, stomped it on the ground and then scraped it off, put it in the bag.
And that was your first look into entrepreneurialism?
Yeah. Actually, if you want, this is actually a very interesting part. My very, very first step into entrepreneurialism was I was 5 years old and I needed to buy something and I needed money. And my dad said, well, if you want money, you've got to figure out how to make it. So I got a large frozen turkey out of my mum's and dad's deep freeze, put it in my friend's little dolly pram and went door to door and I raffled it off. And I thought, gee, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble taking this turkey. So my mum won it back. Not that it was rigged or anything, but I probably think it was. Jeez. And I went on to make many, many, many things and sell them around the neighbourhood and have always been a self-starter, should you say.
Absolutely.
But getting back to the school thing, yeah, it was a shit time for me. Things were bad and couldn't get a job, had no qualifications. And so got a job pumping gas. So not really proud of that, but had to pay my rent. And in those days, had to buy my cigarettes.
Yeah,
it was the 80s.
Well, the Dutch don't buy themselves. And I mean, everyone had to have that first job. I don't think it's shameful to say you worked at a gas station, but
I was pumping gas in overalls and high heels.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So anyway, gave me money, paid my rent.
Yeah.
And then I ended up thinking, oh, this is awful. The weather wasn't nice and I didn't like the smell. So I got a job in a factory and then that was actually very unglamorous. Used to be before road cones, which are very prevalent at the moment. There used to be these flashing lights on 44-gallon drums that they used to use in roadworks. And my job was to solder the little things in for the
great
for the
skill
lights.
To have.
And I pretty much figured out after I electrocuted the boss because I couldn't see and I wasn't doing it properly. I was just soldering everything together. That this really, I wasn't really cut out for this, and I needed to change my way, and I needed to dig myself out of a hole that I'd grown up in and ended up in. And I thought, well, you need to use yourself and your ability, and you need to back yourself, and you need to go and seek your fortune. And I decided, because I come from a bankrupt family, never wanted to own my own business because I'd seen that had destroyed our family. So I went about dragging myself and climbing any corporate ladder I could get into, which led me into various different sales roles, but it ended up thinking I'd found my dream job as the sales manager for 91ZM.
Yeah.
And I ended up, I was in my 20s and was the only female exec on the team at the time and the youngest. They wanted to change the culture of the place. And I'd always been a very strong culture-based person, and, you're only as good as your leader, etc. So they thought, great, she'll be wonderful.
Yeah. And
I got in there and I was absolutely gobsmacked at where I'd come to, and is this my dream? Is this where I'm going to actually be for the rest of my life?
I guess if you're listening and you don't work in radio, which is probably likely, back in the day, working at a radio station was, like a dream job. Like it seemed like the most fun, creative, out there environment. You get to meet celebrities and you get free stuff all the time, free tickets to concerts, and you were drinking all the time because there was free booze at survey parties when you get your ratings, and client lunches non-stop. Was that kind of the appeal, going into a place like that, or nah?
I saw, well, the appeal for me, and if I tried to get a job in this day and age with the qualifications or lack of that I had then, I wouldn't have a shit show. They wouldn't even not even open the door. They wouldn't open the email. Back then, you could, if you could front up,
talk your way in,
eyeball, and back yourself, and that's what I did, and that's how I got in. But then you've actually got to walk the talk and actually prove that you can do it.
Yeah, which is super measurable too, right? How many ads did you sell this week?
Yeah, and so what I quickly found out was you can be ballsy and gutsy and as fiery as you like, but when the culture's rotten and it stinks and you're just there to get the numbers on the board at whatever cost, I thought, wow, do I really want to spend the rest of my life doing this?
Yeah, is this me?
Yeah, and they've my first job when I got there was to arrange for small to medium businesses from all around the region to come to one of the big hotels, and they flew in this guy from the States, a guy called Jason Jennings, and he did this thing called his Chalk Talk. And basically he was like a motivational speaker to business people.
Yeah.
And he brought out a thing called solution selling. Basically, the solution was a radio ad. Okay, but it was disguised.
Spoiler alert.
It was disguised in many different ways. And I sat in the front row of this thing that I'd helped organise, listening to this guy with, a few hundred business people behind me. And I looked around the room and I listened to him and I thought, why am I not sitting there? Why am I scared to be in business when some of these people look like they couldn't even organise anything, and yet here I am thinking I can't go into business. So anyway, it gave me the guts.
Why am I an employee versus a business owner carving my own path? Yeah.
It was more like, I suppose, if you look at it the way I was like, well, do I want to spend the rest of my life bowing down to bad culture and bad attitude and having no freedom and no choices?
Just following reporting lines.
Yeah, and I thought, no, if I the things that are strong to me as values and culture, then I need to make my own. So I sat in the front row of this seminar and I wrote the business plan for my first business. And that was my first week as in my role at 91ZM. And 18 months later, I opened the front doors with a whole lot of free advertising, I might add.
Because it's not what you know, it's who you know.
It's who you know. Yeah. And also I'd made a lot of friends there. I'd made some wins. I'd achieved what they wanted me to achieve. Yeah. And then interesting little story that goes along with that. I owned my first house when I was 22. And by this stage, that was a little one. I had a big one. And, and I've never had a cent given to me. Every cent I've earned and invested in myself. And I bought a big old house. It was pink at the time, not very attractive. Used to have carpet from a picture theatre, secondhand.
Nice.
And I had people living in all the rooms, helping me pay the mortgage. And then I was going to start this business. So I went to the National Bank, which is now ANZ.
Yep.
And I'd made a business plan and I'd followed everything, and it was a really good idea. I had a site underneath Les Mills, brand new gym, so massive 300 square metres. The guy said, oh, we don't loan to people like you. You're a woman of childbearing age. And also, what a dumb idea. You could say things back then. Now you can't even say woman.
No. Jesus Christ.
So
what did you do?
I sold my house.
Whoa.
And lived on a friend's couch for a while. And I just thought, no, I've got to back myself.
So we've gone from petrol stations and pram raffles to launching a one-stop empire. You're about to hear how Philippa took a huge risk, backed herself completely, and walked headfirst into the chaos of being a young, untested business owner.
I invested everything I had in it, all my strengths, talents, and money.
And your money, yep.
Yeah, and opened the doors on the 26th of April 2000. So, just when we thought Y2K was going to destroy the world, it didn't. Had to a queue of people queuing to get in to my brand new business.
Wow.
Which was a one-stop shop for someone like me. So I bought hair, beauty, nails, sunbeds. They weren't the baddies that they are now.
Yeah.
And all under one roof. But there was me, a salon manager and a part-time beauty therapist, and I opened the doors and the demand was so huge.
For a one-stop shop. So this was a gap in the market. No one had done this built this model before?
Not, people had all done separate ones or a little bit here, nothing to that scale, and it was a spa, and we had relaxation baths, so we had everything. Like, I'd spent my whole house on the fit out. I basically just about at one point was nearly living in there. I mean, we had a shower and a bath. I mean, it was possible.
What did it cost? What was the initial, what did that fit out cost?
Crikey. Well, I pulled in a lot of favours. I think it cost me about $260,000.
Which now is probably
and
$1 million
that was
bucks
my
easy,
boyfriend
right?
and his father did the painting, and this one did that, and I called in a lot of favours. So that would have been $1 million in today's money. if I hadn't called in the favours.
And so you found this gap in the market, you opened a business to a queue, and you hit $1 million in turnover in your first year, right?
Actually hit that in 6 months.
Holy shit.
If you had 2 legs, 2 hands and 2 eyes, nothing else, you got a job working for me.
Yeah.
Because the demand was real. I'd also learned a lot about radio advertising, so I created a massive demand and a great brand and an opportunity.
What was it called?
It was called Is Bliss.
Is Bliss.
This is Bliss. Philippa speaking.
Nice. Voice your own ads. Client voice ads. Nothing better.
So there was queues of people, and I didn't have enough staff. So basically, I learnt about people pretty quickly, and I learnt some very hard lessons in that first year. I hired 19 people in 6 months, and then what comes with
This is your first business.
Yeah.
And you've all of a sudden got 19 employees. That's a big shift, right?
Oh yeah, but also human real estate. You've dealt with nothing till you've dealt with human real estate, and I those people working for you and how responsible you are for them, and how sometimes they just don't turn up, and
so you've gone from being kicked out of school, part-time or full-time job, to afford your darts and your high heels, and then you've all of a sudden turned over $1 million in 6 months. What did that feel like? Because for a lot of people, that's the finish line, but you've only just got started.
Well, I didn't even have time to think about it, because the demand was there. I mean, that was my goal for 18 months, 2 years down the track, and I had it in 6 months. And I suppose I went on a massive learning curve. I had to. I got a mentor from the Chamber of Commerce back in those days in Wellington, a guy called Sean.
Mm-hmm.
And I became a sponge, because I'd read a lot of stuff and I'd been in some courses and I'd done this, but you don't know anything till you're in the trenches.
Yeah, totally.
And
it's like with anything, right? It's like you can read as many parenting books as you want, but until you've got a kid screaming at you, you don't know.
and the thing being too, Reagan, is the buck stops and starts with you when you own your own business.
Yeah.
Everything is your responsibility. The clients, the people.
And that can be quite liberating, but also pretty stressful, because if you've been an employee the whole time, not making your own decisions, versus all of a sudden you're it.
Yeah. And also selling everything you own to do it and going.
Yeah.
It can be really, really scary, and it can be very liberating.
It's a gamble.
It is a gamble, but it paid off.
Yep.
But it didn't pay off because it was luck. It paid off because it was strategic and a lot of hard work.
And a lot of sacrifice.
And a hell of a lot of determination.
Yeah.
And that's where the secret sauce is in doing that combination together.
So all of a sudden you're a successful business owner. Within a few years you had, over 20 employees, you were turning over millions of dollars. Were there any growing pains associated with that? Because growing at scale is quite hard for a lot of businesses. Did you find that tricky?
Oh, well, stress-related diseases like shingles, yeah. You name it, it happened to me, because I was working, I was running, trying to keep up.
Constantly.
Trying to keep up. And I got nominated, which was one of my career highlights, is I was making things and designing things for the business. And because once I figured out I'm actually good at this and this is my jam, I just became like a machine.
How long did that take? How long did it take from opening the doors to realizing I'm fucking good at this?
Oh, I think, I don't know, a day.
Really?
Well, when you throw everything caution to the wind and there's people queuing up on a brand new business that hasn't even traded a cent, in Christmas, the first Christmas, I did a Christmas voucher thing, and we're selling a piece of paper, and I couldn't keep up. I ran out of vouchers at any one time at that stage, and this is in the early 2000s. There was, at any one time of the month or the year, there's always at least $100,000 worth of unredeemed vouchers waiting to come into my business.
Wow.
And so you've got to learn the skills all around every aspect of your business. And the two things that I learnt, and the two hardest lessons I learnt, was profits and margins and people and culture. And they're probably been my winning success through all of the other businesses I've had, and what I now do in teaching people in businesses Those two things are the foundation. There's 4 foundations to business. Profit and margins, obviously, people and culture, sales and processes, and marketing and promotion. Those 4 are absolute key to be able to have a balanced, saleable, scalable business. But a lot of people start with the marketing and the sales part because they want to get money through the door.
Yeah, of course.
And so
they want brand recognition straight away without having actually done anything.
Yeah, and what happens then is they create turnover. But I have a saying, turnover is vanity, profit is sanity.
Yeah.
And they do a thing with their marketing generally because there's a lot of snake oil out there. Obviously, you're in the radio and media industry, but there's a lot of other industries out there now with the invention of AI and what's happening.
Totally.
People are selling snake oil for every aspect of your business.
Yeah.
CEO, SEO, GBO, you name it. There's a person who's an expert in it that will take your money.
But equally in your line of work back then, beauty and healthcare, there's snake oil. There's always been snake oil in that industry too, right?
Yeah,
so you could kind of.
Yeah, but back then we didn't. So
you're relying on your client voice radio ads.
We didn't
though.
really
You're
have
not
the
talking
internet
about,
back. When I started business, we had email, and we had a point of sale. But the very first starting part, we had a book.
Yeah.
And you made it there, and then we progressed, and we got a computer. But there was.
Were you still zip-zapping credit cards?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Old school.
And cash. Cash was king.
Yeah, of course.
And cash came across the desk. You don't actually see much cash these days.
Were you doing your own finances, or did you have an accountant at this point?
Oh, well, that was the learning curve, eh? So I learned really quickly that also I'm not from this industry. I can't do
any industry.
Yeah. Well, I'm from the business industry now. I'm from the Serial Entrepreneur Society. But back then, you got to learn everything. And when you are the person that is working 100% on the business, which is me, so I'm not the entrepreneurial myth. I wasn't good at something, so I started a business doing it. What I did was I thought, what does the world need and what do I need as a lady? I'm sick of driving all over the place. And what can I make that people really, really want that's downstairs from a massive gym that people are just going to want to come in droves to because they're trying to look and feel good.
I can feel good.
So I added the extra component to that. But quickly I figured out that I needed to, number one priority is to make a profit because I can't fix it by cutting people's hair, doing facials, booking this, doing anything. I have to fix it by making it profitable. So my business was profitable by day one because I had no choice. Otherwise, I was never going to get paid. And then also I figured out that I've got all these people working for me and all these customers, and I am the leader. So
they all rely on you.
They all rely on me for their wages and their jobs, but they also rely on me to provide them with a great place to work.
Yep.
And I'd worked in some shitty places. And so I knew that, well, I needed to be the leader that people wanted to follow because all of a sudden I went from having 1.5 staff on day one to 19 to 24 to 27 in a really short space of time. And no one liked Adolf Hitler. Well, a few people did, but no one likes a dictator.
No.
And no one likes to be ruled from the top down. And so I kind of became the leader that I'd always wanted to have.
Yeah.
And that, again, I fixed the profitability and made sure that was solid from day one. And then I became the leader that I wanted to have. And I treated people like I wanted to be treated.
Which is, we're taught that at primary school in terms of manners and
we were all taught
virtues.
That, but under pressure.
And in a business environment, for some reason, that changes, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, money and pressure causes people to act in a survival mode. So I have a kind of a saying that the leader eats last. And the team comes first.
Yep.
Because without them, I didn't have a business.
What are some other cultural things you put in place to ensure they were loving their job?
I had a marketing calendar, but I also had a culture calendar.
Yep.
And that is something that I teach companies today that I work with, is I prioritise the cultural side of it. And I made sure that everybody was recognised, rewarded,
Yep.
Because people come to work to be paid. But if you ask most people, they'd rather be given a big pat on the back and a big clap and told, oh my God, Reagan, your podcast is just shit hot and we love it. You're doing such a great job. Then you're going to be like, oh, that's what people come to work for as well. They need the money, but they need that part. As I figured out, they needed that almost more than they needed the money.
We spend so many of our waking hours, days, weeks, years at work. You have to enjoy it.
Yeah.
It has to feel good, right?
Yeah. And the thing is also, I was paying people to do nice things for other people. So if they weren't nice, then the customers weren't happy. So also a bit of a scary analogy I had to get my head around was people came into parts of my business and I entrusted the staff to take them into a room and ask them to take their clothes off. And then they shut the door and went in there together. And, you have to, as a control freak, I had to what the hell are they doing? Are they doing a good job? Because you can't see it, so that's...
There's a lot of trust there.
Yeah, and so...
Huge trust model.
And those people have to do great things for the customers. And so the customers are the ones that pay the bills.
Yeah.
So, I learned to be a really good leader and I learned to make sure that my business followed really, really strong profit-based solutions. And Sean taught me a little philosophy to follow, and I have done it in all my businesses, and I teach it now to the people who come to me with their businesses for help, is I put profit first. It comes up under the turnover, and then I have a key indicator of the 4 key cost KPIs for that particular business, and I measure it against what the industry averages are, and then every decision is made on that so that the profit is achieved. And that's a really hard discipline to stick to. But there's a lot of businesses out there that aren't actually businesses. They're people that have bought their job and they're paid poorly and they're under a lot of pressure, especially at the moment.
Yeah,
it's really
totally.
out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the genesis for the podcast is times are tough. People are looking in their wallets going, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, where's my money?
Yeah, where's my money? Businesses are saying the same thing. Employees are saying the same thing. People who have lost their jobs are saying the same thing.
Well, one of the things I do now as a business coach is I do a time audit on people and I work out what they're actually earning an hour working for themselves.
Yeah.
And there was a guy I worked with just the other day, and most of the time this isn't a happy story. He was earning, he's an electrician. Hope you're not listening. I worked out he was paying himself $8.34 an hour. I said, dude, I can't get anybody that cheap. Will you come and work for me?
Yeah.
$23.15 or $23.75 an hour now is the cheapest you could ever get anybody. But yeah, so that's actually the conundrum that a lot of people that get into business do, is they're really good at what they do. So they start a business doing it, but they end up 9 times out of 10
undervaluing their time.
Well, buying their job.
Yeah.
And it's not actually a business. It's you've created a job you can't leave because
you're
it's your business.
Yeah, you're cornered.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to Isbliss. You sold that business in 2007 for a lot of money.
Yeah.
How much did you sell it for?
Well, there's
because you built this from nothing.
Built this from nothing, and backstory to that is I sold it because my husband at the time hated it. Thanks, Paul.
Wow,
He
cheers,
painted
Paul.
it. Yeah, cheers. But I was going to franchise them. I thought, so I wrote a whole franchise model.
That seems like the next logical step, right? Because you'd nailed the model.
Yeah, and I'd really nailed it. And I was going to do 25 across New Zealand and Australia, and I had it all ready to go. And he just wasn't supportive of that, and it wasn't going to happen. One of the things also, too, in that industry, people stopped doing trades, and it was really hard to staff. And I could get good staff because I could keep and grow my own talent, and I was a great leader.
Yeah.
And I thought, how can I replicate this when I can't replicate myself? So I decided, no, I'm out. I'll sell it, and off we go.
And that's well timed because that's a year before the GFC too,
Well,
right?
actually, it was. I sold it on the 1st of December 2007.
Right.
And in the paper the next day was announced that some major global financial crisis was about to whip us all in the backside.
Whoa.
And everyone said to me, gee, you're clever. I mean, I didn't have a hope in hell and clue that was coming.
So not much of your story involves luck, but that particular decision was pretty fucking lucky.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't have been able to sell that business if you waited 3 months, right? No one would have been interested because money was gone, right?
Well,
or the opposite.
Interesting you say that, because I've had my next one of those. I swore I'd never have another one of those, and I ended up owning another one. Another story.
You've got an addiction.
Well, seems to be. I think people seem to think I'm a bit of an expert in that industry.
Right.
So it arrived on my lap.
Yeah, sure.
But what happens in times like what we're in now, and times like the GFC and other crises that the world's lived through, is people stop renovating, stop buying new cars, stop travelling, and they think, I deserve to look after myself. So they come to businesses that I own.
Okay.
And they make sure that they look good, because the rest of their life is shit.
Yeah.
So I've actually boomed in those times.
That's interesting.
But that's not to say...
You've probably boomed at the start of those times when people think they can afford to look after themselves. And then interest rates, as they go up, they really start to lose their disposable income, and by the end of that cycle, they're like, that's when you'd probably be closing your doors for good.
Yeah, well, that can happen, and also, I suppose what's this crisis called now?
Cost of living.
Cost of living, and that has really, really affected small business New Zealand, and 97% of business in New Zealand is small business.
Yeah,
and
we're built on it.
Yeah. Moving the minimum wage 3 or 4 times during COVID, adding another week's holiday, calling it sick leave, adding in Matariki, which is a really good recognition of that day, but making another statutory holiday on a Friday. And with no tax advantages or breaks for any small businesses in this country.
We're making it hard.
It's basically blowing the backside out of hospitality and high street retail. Obviously other things, they haven't helped it. But when I do that cost KPI that I was talking to you about before, they used to be 30-30-10 was the perfect ratio to run a hospitality business. That's more like 40-42-10 and no profit.
Yeah.
Nothing.
That
10% is gone.
Breaking
it
even.
Adds up to more than 100%, and there's nothing left. There's no profit in it anymore.
So what's the point?
Yeah. And it's
a business. What's the point?
And New Zealand is built on that. So there was some poor decisions made. We won't talk politics. It's not a political podcast.
No, adventures in there sometimes. I have to pull it back, because otherwise people will start to get arced up and people won't listen because they'll disagree with the guests. But I do want to touch on politics at some point, because it'll be great to get a few of the people in an eyeball and be like, what are you actually doing about it?
Yeah, so when, we don't actually have a lot of big enterprise here. We have a lot of number 8 wire, hard-working, gutsy Kiwis like me that came from nothing, gave it a good go, and some of them are really, really suffering. And, that paying somebody $23.75 an hour is fine. I believe that people at that end of the market deserve to earn as much as they can and have a great start in life and everything. But what wasn't taken into consideration is the minimum wage people back then, and probably now, grow the food, pick the food, drive the food around, sell the food in the supermarket. So all it did was rise all of the prices.
Every single cost, yeah.
And because as a business owner, you can't have your wage percentage over your KPI, otherwise then boom, 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 you're out of business. You're trading insolvently. And so this is the trickle-down effect that's happening with a lot of businesses, is because those key costs have blown out. And probably the solution, if I had been Prime Minister, and please don't make me, I don't want that job.
There's still time.
Oh, no, there's not. I'm far too busy enjoying life. That would be awful.
Yeah.
You get less for murder, don't you?
True that.
As you needed to, those people should actually pay no tax or very low tax, and that would help small business to be able to pay them what they used to pay them.
Yep.
And they'd end up with more money and the food wouldn't have gone up. But anyway, that's another story.
Write that one down, Luxon. Okay, so you sold the business for a record amount in 2007. Yep. what do you think people misunderstand about selling a business? Because I guess you had a lot of emotions tied to it by this point, didn't you?
Well, it's like selling a child, really.
Totally.
Yeah.
Is that hard, or when you saw the figure on the paper, you thought, fuck yeah, that's awesome?
By that stage, I'd had enough of it.
Yeah.
But the thing you've got to get right is you have to have something that's actually saleable. And, I've actually got a business broking license. I don't trade as a broker, but I got the qualification, had a look at doing it and didn't like it.
No wonder you don't have any time.
Oh,
Going and picking up qualifications on the side that you don't even use.
Well, considering I started with none, I thought I'd better make up for it in my later life.
Fair enough, playing catch-ups.
And so I can help people understand what it's like to sell a business and point them in the direction of the right broker or something to sell it.
Yeah.
But, a lot of people think they've got something to sell and they don't. So you've actually got to have a really strong, solid, profitable business to get a multiplier on it to be able to sell it. And a lot of people are so head down, bum up in the grind that they don't know their numbers. They don't know those key costs, KPIs. They find out a year and a half after the year end when the accountant gives them their accounts, and page 15 is a little tiny number, and they go, I made a profit, where is it? And the accountant goes, you spent that a year ago. Or that got wasted in debt. You've got to have a profitable business that has systems, structures, and all of those 4 quadrants that I talked about before, so that people can actually see what they're buying. Otherwise it's an intangible nothing. And
do you think a subjective view on that from a third party is helpful? Like someone like you coming in and going, if you want to sell your business, you've got to fix this and this and this before you even consider it.
Everyone I work with as a business coach style that I work with now in their business, I take them through those 4 pillars, 4 foundations, and then within that there's 9 steps. There's 2 steps in each of the 4. I know maths wasn't my strong point, but that is 8.
Yep.
But the 9th thing, so you go through all of those things. We were talking about profits and margins, people and culture, sales and processes, and marketing and promotions. And once they're all sorted, then you look at sale or scale. So you've got to have, those have to be, all 4 of those things need to be really, really solid so that you can either scale or go for sale.
Yeah.
And you might not want to sell for 10 years, or you might want to sell in 2 years, but you have to have all of that right so that you actually can. And the biggest and saddest thing I come across in what I do now is people go, I have to sell it, and they've got nothing to sell.
Yeah.
Or very little.
They think they've got this huge asset, but in fact it's running backwards. And
turnover.
When they would think they're going to cash in, it's not.
You could be turning over $3 million, $5 million, $10 million, but turnover is nothing when there's no leftover.
Yeah.
And people are buying something that has all. People want to buy, if they're going to pay good money for something, they want to buy something that has all 4 of those things solidly in place. And if you have a business, you shouldn't be thinking, I don't have to worry about that now because I'm not ready for sale. Your business should be ready for sale today.
Yeah.
Because life happens and decisions change, and if you don't want to sell it, that's fine, but you need to be ready to sell it today.
You're getting me arced up to start a business. The way you talk, I'm just like, I'm going to sort my quadrants out.
I know a really good business coach. My business is called None of My Business, All About Yours.
Which we'll get to. We are getting there. We are getting through some kind of story.
I'm just sales pitching you there, Reagan, just in case you want to start a business.
No, I feel like I want to right now. Let's do it. Okay, so you founded a business, then you became a consultant, and you kind of like the turnaround queen, because you're turning these things that other people won't see as opportunities into these amazing profitable things. You saved Boy, which was another a beauty salon?
It was
or a hair salon,
one of the biggest salons and the most prestigious brand in the country, but it was trading insolvently. So the owner, who was my business partner back then, has passed away since, and I've since sold it again for even more money than the other one. But that in between that, some interesting stuff happened. I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. I started a coaching company in 2008 called None of My Business, All About Yours. But back then, the internet was something that you downloaded jokes from or bought shoes from the US that took 6 months to come and it didn't fit you. So the resources back then, it was really hard to be a business. It was really hard to coach people. There's no tools. There's no, there was email and that was it.
Yeah.
And
email, radio, TV.
Yeah, and it was really hard. It was me selling my own intellectual property and being in front of people. We couldn't do it. There was no Zoom.
No.
It was not even heard of. So I quickly thought, this is a dumb idea. If I was a business coach and you came to me and said, I want to be a business coach, start a business doing it, I'd say, bad model, don't bother. So I nearly started another couple of other businesses. I then mentored a guy and started a business, a SaaS-based software business for a while, and went on to brand that, get that ready for market, sell that into prisons and large corporates around the place, and then decided that, oh gosh, that's boring.
This is boring.
And then also thought, I don't want to be in business with him. So I said, you buy me out when you're ready and you go off and do it. We couldn't agree on a couple of things, so we parted ways. And he carried on, but it never became the big hoo-ha.
That's because you weren't there.
Well, thank you. Doesn't tell you that off camera. Then I got rung up by the guy who had the failing massive brand business, and I thought, I said, yeah, okay, I'll come and help you. I had 11 days before the receivers were coming in.
Jesus.
And I thought, crikey. And, he's in debt $3.5 million. And a lot of that was to IRD, to suppliers. And so...
Chasing his tail.
Yeah. And he said, just take it. I said, I don't want it. I said, I'll help you fix it. Give me the 11 days and just stay over there and let me do my thing. And I can't promise anything. But just whatever I say, we're doing. He goes, I don't care, do it. So...
Like the CIA turning up to defuse a bomb or something.
Oh my God, I felt like that.
Yeah.
I kind of felt quite empowered as well. Anyway, I saved it. And...
how long did that take?
That went from trading insolvently in 12 months to the profit had changed 1,000%.
1,000%?
Yes. Because it was trading insolvently.
And he was about to...
But I laid off people. I changed the culture. I put in my set KPIs, put in my profit first, because I had to get paid.
Of course. You're not doing
I
this
put
pro
in a
bono.
spa in there because it was like 300 square metres and it was just all salon. And I'll try my old little magic trick from the last one. And I went, did all that, and then he died. Actually, he died of cancer. It was really sad. So I ended up owning most of it. I brought on another guy who was, again, I used to find the people that were the very best at what they could do and help rise them up. There was this guy called Michael Beale, and he was hairdresser of the year. He'd been working there for ages, and he came on board as my minor business partner. And then, anyway, rest is history. It's sold. And gone on to swear that I'd never have another one, but who knows?
Okay, so you're officially out of the beauty salon combo model until you get the next one.
Well, since I've relaunched my coaching thing, becoming a new Jaffa, I've been in Auckland for 2 years, officially, and now a new Jaffa.
Congratulations.
Thank you, or commiserations.
Yes.
I love the weather, not today.
Not today.
I decided to, I've always coached people. Ever since I had that one in 2008, people always came to me. The government haured me out during COVID. I helped quite a few businesses for nothing. I've helped saved a few businesses, and I've always thought, from the heart, if you can, then you should. And I've charged a few people a bits and pieces over the years, but now I'm doing it properly again. Decided that it seems to be my forte, and so I came out from being in denial over that and hiding under the duvet, and I've spoken at a couple of conferences, industry-based things, and those people are coming for me, getting a lot of demand from the hair and beauty industry and other industries. I work in all industries with what I do now, because at the end of the day, business is business. It doesn't matter if your business is doing those type of services or anything at all. They all have those 4 foundations, and it doesn't really matter where you come from or what you're doing. If you get those right, that's the secret sauce.
It's interesting that you've put, profit has to be at the top. It's a business. It's the entire point of it. It's to make money. That's why businesses exist, because people need stuff and people want to live off the stuff that they buy. The culture,
unless you're a not-for-profit.
Unless you're a not-for-profit.
And I don't think there's many businesses out there that want to be that. People that are not-for-profit start out to be not-for-profit.
And then it changes pretty rapidly.
Well, the not-for-profit are charities normally.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah.
But there's a lot of not-for-profit businesses, but they don't want to be that way. So the reason why you go into business is to be able to make money. Otherwise, go get a job and work for someone else.
Totally.
It's a lot easier.
So what drives you now? Because you're mentoring, advising, you're on boards. Is it impact? Is it legacy? Do you love the challenge? Is it the people? Because you're such a big people and culture person.
Well, it's exhausting, but it's a drive. It's kind of like an addiction in a way. And
too much dopamine.
Yeah,
Is it money?
I get my kicks out of it.
Do you still love getting paid and having nice stuff?
Well, yeah. When you come from nothing and living on baked beans, fish fingers, and peas for many years, being on your own at 15, then I'm always wanting to know that everything's okay there. But money's not my God, and I do everything else for those reasons, and the money comes. And I'm talking about me as a person.
Of course, yeah.
When I'm talking about a business, the business is not me. It is something that I'm there to guide. So that the profit first thing is the money, but that makes sure that everyone else gets paid in the business and the business can survive. And then, but me as a person, money isn't my God. I just do everything by the book, in my book, and the money comes.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll do some quick fire finishes here. What do you think the biggest win in business is for you so far?
I won an Entrepreneurs Award through California University, and the Best Foundation, who was the woman who started Redken.
Yep.
And
I used to use Redken products when I had hair.
Oh, wow. Well,
that's how I recognise that.
Paula, what was her last name? It wasn't Redken, but anyway. She started this thing, and I won this amazing award for client philosophy. This is for my first business. And marketing innovations. I invented an amazing rewards program and grew a business from an idea to a booming thing in the short space of time. Got flown to Spain, then got flown to LA.
Wow.
She bought Elvis Presley's house in Los Angeles, not Graceland, but she threw this party for all these amazing entrepreneurs like me from all around the world. This is when I thought, shit, I've made it. And we were sitting in Elvis's garden under the stars, and out of the helicopter comes this Elvis impersonator from Vegas, and Elvis played Elvis at Elvis's house, and I was surrounded by entrepreneurs and being celebrated, and that was like,
pinch me.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was 2006. It was a long time ago.
Wow. What's been a moment that's nearly broken you since you got into business?
Oh yeah, there's a few of those. Well, the one that probably sticks out the most, apart from COVID nearly killed me.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to let it. Was having 9 people leave me while I was giving birth to my daughter, actually on the day. And, it's nothing personal, nothing related. I know it's a really bad time. 9 people out of the 24 or whatever it was I had back then, all for unrelated reasons, and one of them was the person who was going to look after the business so I could give birth and have some time off. So I limped back to work 4 days after having a baby with the breast pump on the desk and the baby underneath it. So that was tough times, but again,
so the sacrifices didn't stop, did they?
No, the buck stops and starts with you, so you just get on with it.
Yeah. What's one thing you wish you did sooner?
Go into business.
Straight up.
I wish that I'd come from a family that had been more supportive, and I'd had a better cushioning to start with, and I'd had the ability to go and learn what I know now at an earlier age, because crikey, what could I have done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you've done pretty well.
Yeah, but what else could I have done?
Yeah. You do have the addiction.
But also, too, we're all going to live a lot longer. I've still got gas in the tank.
No, totally. What was the moment where you felt truly rich? And was it what you expected?
Well, I don't know if I'm ever going to, no matter how much money I get or have, I don't think I'm ever going to feel truly rich, because money's not the God. But it is quite cool to be able to go and pay cash for a house in Herne Bay in Auckland when you move up and walk into a European car yard and just say, I'll have that, and pay cash. And I'm not talking like a bag full of cash. I'm not a drug dealer. But, I don't have to borrow money. I don't have to work, but I'm addicted to it. I love it. And so I do it because I need it.
What's one lesson about money or business, but maybe given it's a podcast about money, lean into money, that you want every Kiwi to hear and really kind of think about?
Don't start a business without getting those 4 foundations and making the profit a priority. Don't buy your job. Just because you're good at something doesn't mean you should start a business doing it. I would say at least 60 to 70% of the businesses out there are just the persons in breach of the Minimum Wage Act on themselves. Sometimes I have to say, go work for someone else.
Yeah.
I can't. I've got a business. I said, you don't. You've got a job that you can't leave, and the boss is a stressed out arsehole, and you're the boss. So stop it.
So there you have it. Takeaways from me today. Business is not glamorous. It's often brutal and full of moments where you wonder why you started in the first place. Philippa's been there and says it straight. Don't start a business just because you're good at something. If it feels like a job you can't quit, maybe rethink. Money might not be the answer to everything in this life, but let's be honest, being able to pay cash for things without breaking a sweat sounds pretty damn satisfying, especially when that thing is a house in a leafy, affluent CBD-adjacent suburb in Auckland. If you want to get there, you've got to stop buying your own job and start building a business that actually makes you money. Yes, I love that truth bomb from Philippa. A business is supposed to make a profit. You can turn over millions of dollars and still be broke if you're not holding on to any of it. So if you're serious about turning this whole where's my money question into here's my money, according to Philippa, there are no shortcuts or free rides. If you got something from this first Reags to Riches episode, head over to our socials and let me know. I'd love to hear from you at Where's My Money NZ. I'm keen to hear how you're turning your side hustle into cash as well. And if you're not following yet, well, what the hell are you waiting for? Get in there. In our next episode, Alice Taylor Eats has taken Instagram by storm, but how does someone with a master of politics turn into a foodie influencer, helping Kiwis get good at cheap, realistic cooking? And is this the career pivot she was always looking for? If you've got questions for Alice, fire them our way in the chat or the DMs or wherever you want to get in touch. Keen to hear from you. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time where I'll be asking that dirty old question, where's my money?